Have you ever gotten to the point where it's lunchtime, you're starving, and you don't think you have anything at all to eat in your refrigerator? I've got you. My name is Ellen Allard of Ellen's Healthy Kitchen, and I help you plant your plate one healthy meal at a time. There was a time before I was whole food plant-based when I would just eat anything. I might even run out and grab a sandwich or a piece of pizza. When I acquired the skills that I have now, I learned how to make meals out of components. I know, components kind of sounds like the parts of a TV or a computer. But if you think of components as pieces, right, elements, and you think about putting those pieces or elements or components together, it's a great way to make a meal. In fact, you can do it out of items, foods in your refrigerator or your pantry that you might not even think would go together. But if you use your creative muscle and you are open to ideas, I promise you, you're going to be able to do this. Part of your success is going to be making extra food every time you make a dinner. I always deliberately make extra food because I know that that way I'm going to have those components in my refrigerator that are going to help me put a meal together. I'm going to show you what I did today for lunch. Take a look at this. Do you have any idea what this is? This is a collard leaf. So is this one. It was 2 big collard leaves that I had in the refrigerator. I took them out along with leftover roasted vegetables, leftover tempeh crumbles, leftover blue cheese dressing, leftover avocado, leftover salad dressing, which I'll also tell you about. And I also had carrots and a cucumber. And I was able to take those ingredients, those components out of the fridge and make this lunch. So here's what I did. I took the collard leaves and I laid them out flat, and I used a knife to cut out the inner core, the inner stem, if you will. I know there's another name for it, but I can't think of it. Anyway, I cut that out, and then I washed the collard leaves and I dried them, both sides, and then I put them on a cutting board and I started to layer. First, I layered a layer of hummus. Oh, I forgot to mention that before when I was telling you what I pulled out of the fridge. So I put on a layer of hummus. Then I put on a layer of this Giroudi family blue cheese dressing, and I will link that down in the show notes below. I made that for dinner last night, and I absolutely adore it. It is delicious. I laid down the hummus, then the blue cheese dressing. Then on top of that, I took the vegetables that I had left over from maybe 3 nights ago, and I took them and put them on a cutting board, and I cut them into small pieces. And then I layered those on top of the other 2 layers. Then I added some of this tempeh, which there's none left. The tempeh recipe is also in the same video of the Giroudi family blue cheese dressing. You can Google it to find her recipe, and I will also leave a link in my show notes. Okay, so then I carefully rolled up the collard leaves, and I ended up with 2 big ones, which I then cut in half. So that's how I had 4 pieces. And I've already eaten 2. I still have 2 to go. And I wanted to make sure to show you this before I gobbled them down. I also cut up a carrot, some cucumbers, some avocado. I added some of this citrusy dressing, which I also will give you information about that in the show notes below. And that was it. I did that because I had most of these leftovers, right? I had the hummus left over, the blue cheese dressing left over, the tempeh crumbles left over, the roasted vegetables left over. I had avocado. Well, I always have avocado in the refrigerator. I had a carrot. All I had to do was cut it up. I had a cucumber. All I had to do was cut it up. So that was the most work I did, really, was cutting up the carrot and the cucumber and layering everything on top of the collard leaf. And voila, I made this absolutely delicious, yummy lunch. What I want to impress upon you is this. If you think of your meals like an artist and you're going to decide what medium you want to use. Do you want to use oil paint? Do you want to use tempera? Is that a word? Even tempera paint? Do you want to use watercolor? Do you want to use charcoal pencil? Do you want to use just colored pencils or crayons? How do you want to make your art? Do you want to make a collage with cut up paper? The sky's the limit. And creating these meals is very much like creating a piece of artwork. You open your fridge, You take stock of what you have left over from the prior few days. You pull them out. Maybe you're not even sure what it's going to look like yet, but you pull them out, and then you start putting together, assembling a meal, whether it's a bowl or maybe you have leftover rice and vegetables and tofu and you reheat it. It doesn't really matter. The idea that I want to impress upon you is that you can make a meal, a quick meal, a delicious meal, a nutritious meal from the components that you have in your fridge left over from the prior few nights. And if you just always think about that when you're making your dinner, always make enough so you have leftover. Whether it's like a leftover lasagna and maybe that's your leftover lunch and you don't have to put that together because it's already together. Whether it's various different components that you're going to then take out of the fridge and pull together a meal out of. I had no idea what I was going to have. I did not know when I walked into the kitchen that I was going to end up making collard wraps. But again, I just opened the fridge, pulled out the different components, and I pulled together lunch. And it's just a great way to approach really any eating. What I want to teach you is how easy it is to pull together a meal and not have to run out to the pizza joint or to the local sandwich shop. If you want to stick to your whole food, plant-based way of eating, and I also recommend oil-free, and in my case, gluten-free because I have celiac, if you want to stick to that and feel really good about the choices that you made, this is one way you can do it, by making extra components and then pulling them out of the fridge the next day and creating a meal. If you've gotten value out of my video, I would love it if you would like it. Just click on that thumbs up. In fact, I'll give you a little challenge. Go to your refrigerator and see what you have. Pull stuff out of the refrigerator, put it on your counter, even if you're not going to make a meal yet, just for the exercise of doing this. And see if you can just sort of figure out, like taking out your art box, see if you can figure out what you're going to pull together for a meal that you might not otherwise have thought you could do. And then come to the comments and let me know what you did. You can also just leave me any comment because I would love to hear from you. And if you click on that bell, YouTube will know that you want to see more of my content. My name is Ellen Allard of Ellen's Healthy Kitchen, and I help you plant your plate one healthy meal at a time.